charges against TPLF civil and military leaders. And Uganda deploys 1,000 troops to the eastern part of the DRC. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Stay with us. The Ethiopian Ministry of Justice has announced the withdrawal of the charges against the civil and military leaders of the TPLF. In its statement regarding withdrawal of charges, the Ministry of Justice said that in accordance with a peace agreement signed between the federal government of Ethiopia and the Tigray People's Liberation Front TPLF, and taking into account the international experience, it has been agreed that crimes related to the conflict should be dealt with in the framework of transitional justice. Accordingly, the ministry has found it necessary to withdraw the charges against the civil and military leaders of the TPLF who were accused of crimes and have their cases dealt within the framework of transitional justice. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the international community is supporting Ethiopia's efforts to achieve lasting peace with full confidence. The spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Meles Alem, disclosed this in his weekly statement on current diplomatic issues. In his statement, Ambassador Meles said that the government has done extensive work in the implementation of the peace agreement signed in Pretoria to permanently end the war in northern Ethiopia. The resumption of basic services as well as the establishment of Tigray's interim administration is also important to attract foreign investors. He also stated that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is coordinating peace and economic diplomacy in cooperation with partners. The spokesperson also mentioned the efforts being made to resolve the border issue with Sudan in a peaceful way. A sensitization workshop on transitional justice initiative aimed at deliberating on the concept, practices, and the role of stakeholders was held in Addis Ababa. The workshop has been co-organized by Ethiopian Civil Society Organizations Council and the Institute for Security Studies as part of the country's efforts to reform and strengthen democratic institutes and lay the groundwork to sustain political stability and consolidate democracy. Ethiopia, like many other countries in Africa, Latin America, and other continents, has been experiencing political trajectory of post-conflict societies, it was indicated. The construction of what is expected to become Africa's biggest dam upon completion on the Blue Nile River remains a milestone for Ethiopia as the nation is about to celebrate the 12th year anniversary of the laying of its cornerstone back in 2011. Enthusiasm for the flagship project is still a moving spirit behind the construction, so much so that contribution by the general public has so far reached 17.7 billion birr. Shagau Yamata has the following report.
The cornerstone of Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam was laid on April 2, 2011, and the dam will celebrate its 12th year anniversary next week. Ethiopia recently announced 90% completion of the construction of GERD. Although the downstream countries made an effort to stop Ethiopia from constructing the dam, government officials called for equitable share of water, particularly the Abai River. It is to be recalled that Ethiopia had been requested to tackle the challenges with downstream countries by the Security Council. Government officials voiced better in the meetings, and the feelings of the dam became a reality. Responding to journalists whether the dam is a matter of sovereignty to the country or not, former Minister of Water and Energy said the country has the right to use equitable share of water for electricity, clean drinking water and secured food production without harming neighbor countries.
Currently, as you know, 65 million people are without electricity, but if you go further downstream, 100% access to electricity. Hydropower is one of the solutions. If you take drinking water, about 25 million people are without access to clean water in Ethiopia. We have to drink water. We have to treat and then provide solution for our people. So that is what it implies. We have to establish secured food production. We cannot continue to migrate everywhere in the world. We have to really produce adequate food, supply adequate water, supply electricity, and create jobs. As I indicated, 70% of 150 million are under 30 years. These people should have a future. We have to establish that future.
Realizing the importance of the GERD, members of the diaspora community contributed their share to the construction of the dam. They also urged friends of Ethiopia to support the dam as it is helpful to the generations to come upon completion.
This is made possible through the blood, tears, and sweat of ordinary Ethiopians, that are working day and night to make it happen. This is for our future, for the children's future. So this is a major project, and once this project comes to completion, the rest of Africa also follows that, and Ethiopia sets the standard, and the rest of Africa also follows suit. So this is a huge project.
Solomon Taka, Director of Environmental Protection and Art Affairs at GERD, Public Participation Coordinating Office Project Management, indicated that Ethiopians from all walks of life contributed over 17.7 billion birr to the dam. The 12th anniversary of the dam will be celebrated next week with various preparations, including with bond selling and a GERD tour.
The bond selling program has already been launched in Asosa a few days ago. A lot is being done to encourage Ethiopians to participate in the dam. I hope a large number of Ethiopians will take part in the initiative. The other is the GERD tour. This has also been begun since February in Amhara, Afar, Dawa, and currently in Gambela and the South region. It will continue until the end of March to enable people to buy a bond and send into 8100 text line.
Solomon further pointed out that GERD enabled the country to have a general electric capacity to 5,260 megawatts. Upon the full completion of the dam, Ethiopia will be able to get general 10,000 megawatts of electricity.
Welcome to the land of origins. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia is pleased to serve all your traveler banking needs. If you have money from any of these 16 countries, you can convert it to local currency by visiting our nearest branch. Alternatively, our secure Forex ATMs accept cash exchange, or if you prefer using your cards, we've partnered with Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay so that you can withdraw cash from our local ATMs or make cashless transactions at thousands of local POS partners securely and with confidence. We are linked with more than 700 global banks through our direct SWIFT address, CBE Teta. We also work with 16 international money transfer agents, out of which Tune and World Remit enable you to make direct deposits into our savings and current accounts or our popular CBE Birr mobile wallet. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, the bank you can always rely on.
Ethiopia is about to start producing vaccine, an initiative meant to save $100 million otherwise spent on imports. Minister of Health Leah Taddese and Industrial Parks Development Corporation CEO Aklilu Taddese consulted on the common issues that should be worked to produce vaccines at the Qilinto Industrial Park. The production will save the cost of over $100 million that Ethiopia spent on the purchase of vaccines every year. According to the Ethiopian Industrial Parks Corporation, a consensus has been reached for the realization of the plan. Built on 279 hectares of land, the Qilinto Industrial Park is a pharmaceutical park designed for investors engaged in the production of medical supplies and medicines. The African Union Commission, AUC, and Nutrition International joined forces to launch advocacy campaign focused on reducing malnutrition, particularly in adolescent girls, the press release issued by the AUC said. Department of the African Union Commission and Nutrition International launched, quote-unquote, "With good nutrition, she'll grow into it," an advocacy campaign dedicated to improving the health, well-being, and empowerment of girls in Africa through efforts to prevent iron deficiency anemia. The campaign was kicked off during the high-level dialogue on nutrition financing in Maseru, Lesotho, according to a press release issued by the AUC. Speaking at the launch event, Minata Samate Sesuma, the AU Commissioner's Commission for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, called for action advocacy for the prioritization of adolescent nutrition in AU member states.
Today I have come to the German embassy here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to look into the relationship between Ethiopia and Germany and what's in play for these two countries.
We have a long-standing, very good, very deep relationship in all walks of life.
Germany sort of shifted its approach to Ethiopia due to the conflict.
We were very much supportive of the reform process in Ethiopia.
Germany is one of the countries who have bounced back from that time, from the post-conflict era that had caused much destruction, much loss of life.
The main thing is that this agreement is still there and that is being implemented.
Germany's relations with Ethiopia and the African Union are unique. Based on the UN and AU Charter's principle, Germany will continue to stand by both to achieve AU's Agenda 2063.
We are very much in favor of the African integration process because we think that this can lead to prosperity, development, the industrialization of the African continent.
In business, the Dawa Free Trade Zone, which has an industrial park and a dry port, will boost trade, generate employment opportunities, promote knowledge transfer, and cut costs associated with logistics. The Free Trade Zone is expected to help make the African Continental Free Trade Area's trading more convenient to implement. The Ministry of Government Communication Service conducted a field trip for media professionals to demonstrate the activities being carried out at the nation's first free trade zone since its establishment in August 2021. The government is aggressively working to attract additional investors to the strategically important free trade zone. Listen to this.
We are visiting the Dawa Free Trade Zone because it is part of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and it unites various nations neighboring Ethiopia. The development of regional value chains to promote trade and value-added goods throughout the continent is of utmost importance, since it considerably accelerates industrial development across the continent and generates employment possibilities. The expansion of manufacturing sectors in African nations through the use of free trade zones and special economic zones is one of the agreement's major pillars, along with the clear governmental directions.
Dawa city is the perfect location for a free trade zone because it is an industrial village with access to a dry port, a railway, land and air transportation. A dry port and the Dawa Industrial Park are both part of the 4,000-hectare Dawa Free Trade Zone, which is Ethiopia's first free trade zone. And currently, several investors have expressed a strong desire to invest in the Dawa Free Trade Zone.
There are many different legal frameworks for the free trade zone, including guidelines, directives and all establishment proclamations that are mandated and help us to complete all the work necessary to accomplish the desired outcome. Moreover, the Dawa free trade zone is crucial in reducing logistical bottlenecks that plague the manufacturing sector. Also, there is a very significant likelihood the business organizations will sell their goods on a home market. It is possible to support Ethiopia's expanding trade relations with its neighbors with a clear policy and raise the country's competitiveness.
Meanwhile, Shakib Ahmed, owner and general manager of the Handplast Packaging PLC, pointed out that the Dawa Free Trade Zone has emerged as the preferred investment destination for those looking to make money and continue operating successful businesses across a range of investment sectors. Ahmed urged other investors to start investing as both local and federal government is paying due attention to incentivize the investments. We have more on that. Take a look.
In order to draw in both domestic and foreign investors, Ethiopia plans to build multiple free trade zones. An establishment and implementation of the first zone in Dawa is thought to be both necessary and advantageous. To attract domestic and foreign investors, Ethiopia is working to build several free trade zones, and the establishment and implementation of the first free trade zone in Dawa is seen as necessary and beneficial. The focus areas in the Dawa free trade area are general trade activities, comprehensive logistical services and import-export manufacturing sector, and recognition of a free trade area expansion in Ethiopia. Shakib Ahmed, owner and general manager at Handplast Packaging PLC, stated in an exclusive interview with BBC English that the Dawa free trade zone has evolved into the preferred investment location for investors to be lucrative in any industry.
In this region, agriculture, manufacturing, trade, these are easily accessible and very profitable. Many opportunities to choose from. Many profitable opportunities to choose from here in this area.
Ahmed suggested that investors start by importing goods and later expand their operations to include value-added manufacturing and export in order to help generate foreign currency. Furthermore, the local and federal governments have given incentives to give adequate consideration, he said.
Many promises that you get from federal government when it comes to incentives, also from local governments, right? I could say most of these promises are fulfilled after implementation is, you implement your project. Specific to Dawa is we have a new free trade zone. It was inaugurated about 3 months ago. I'm not sure what has, so far, what is the progress towards implementing that. But if that is implemented pretty soon, it has a good impact, a big positive impact on the country's economy.
The investor also claimed that investing in a first free trade zone in Dawa was courageous in light of the zone's accessibility to ports, market potential, high cargo gravity, and suitability for comprehensive transport and logistics activities. It is to be recalled that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed had inaugurated last August the Dawa free trade zone, which is believed to improve Ethiopia's economy by boosting the import and export trade of the country.